So you've got yourself a new DSLR or a new lens, and you find that your images aren't quite working out as good as you hope. They're not quite sharp enough. Is it you or is it the camera? Let's try and find that out. Hi, Ant here from Ape.photos, and today I want to talk about when you're taking pictures with a new camera or a new lens and you're finding that the images just aren't sharp enough. There's something not quite working out. Now, a lot of the time this can be down to camera shake, and that's basically when you're taking a picture that your movements, even the movements from you breathing in and out, can sometimes make the pictures a little bit blurry or a little bit soft. Camera shake can be eliminated by following a simple rule that many other photographers use, and that's basically always trying to keep your shutter speed faster or equal to at least your focal length. So if you're shooting at 50mm, you want to have at least 1/50th shutter speed. If you're shooting at 200mm, like I do at concerts quite often, then you need to be at least 200th of a second. Okay? Now you can, if you've got a steady hand, or if you're using image stabilization, you can drop below that ratio. And you know, sometimes you will get good results if you know what you're doing, but usually the rule of thumb is always keep the shutter speed equal to or faster than your focal length. Another thing that could be causing you problems is your autofocus settings. If you're shooting a band, for example, and you're trying to take a picture of a singer who's moving forwards and backwards away from the microphone, and you're using single shot autofocus, then once you've locked that focus point and take your shot, chances are the singer has already moved backwards or forwards slightly and come away from where you had your focus point. So you're going to miss focus there too. So to stop that from happening, you need to be using autofocus servo, AI servo mode on Canon cameras, and that way the focus point will always follow the subject, or at least try to always follow the subject and keep it in focus, giving you sharper shots. If you're using AI servo mode for your autofocus, then you need to make sure that your focus point is set to wherever your subject is in the frame. If you have the focus point set over somebody's face in the right of the frame, and they move away from that focus point, or you try to recompose after you have hit focus, then in AI servo mode, the camera is going to try to focus on whatever is underneath that point. So if you have the focus point focused on your subject and then your subject moves, your focus point is going to try and focus on whatever is behind them. So that's something to keep in mind. So the next thing that could be at fault here is your lens. Now, some lenses have issues when they ship, or when you buy them secondhand, or if they've been badly treated, where the focus is either back focusing or front focusing. Now, back focusing is when you have the autofocus point set on your subject and it's not sharp, but just behind is sharp. Front focusing is the same thing, but the other way around. You have your focus point set on your subject and your subject isn't sharp, but just in front of them is. Now, if you're taking portraits and you're seeing this kind of thing, where you have the focus point set over your subject's eye in the frame, but the eye is out of focus, but the nose is perfect, then there's a possibility that the lens could be front focusing. Exactly the same thing goes if you're taking a portrait and you have the focus point set on the subject's eye, and the eye is not sharp, but the ear is, then the lens could be back focusing. So there's a simple method that you can use to try and find out if your camera or your lens has a focus problem. But you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a steady surface for the camera or a tripod, and you're going to need some batteries. I suggest using AA batteries. You need 5 of them, and preferably from the same manufacturer, so that they all look the same. Okay, and then we're going to set those out in a diagonal line on a table and take a picture with your focus point set over the middle battery. And then we're going to be able to see if the middle battery is in focus, or if you're front focusing the battery in front, or if you're back focusing the battery behind is going to be in focus. So let's get that set up and let's have a look at how it works. So here you can see our battery set up diagonally across the tabletop. We're going to shoot these front on, focusing on the central battery of the 5. In your camera settings, you need to make sure that your autofocus is set to single point autofocus, not expanded point. And you also need to make sure that the center focus point is selected. Shoot with the widest available aperture for your lens, in this case f2.8, and also make sure that your focus system is set to single shot focus. Now we're ready to shoot. Simply get the camera on the tabletop or the tripod and take your shot. Here we are in the Lightroom having a look at the shot that I made from the 5 batteries, and as we can see, the central battery of the 5 is perfectly sharp. Here it comes. There it is. The batteries in front and behind are out of focus as they should be, and the central battery is perfect. This is the Tamron 17 to 50mm f2.8 DISP lens, and we can also see in the grain of the tabletop exactly how much depth of field we have at f2.8. Look at that, it's around about 1 centimeter, if that. So this lens looks good. Coming up then is an image shot with a Canon L series 70 to 200 f2.8. Here it is, and this lens was really back focusing badly. I've taken 2 different shots here with 2 different in-camera adjustments for the focus settings, and I can't even get the rear battery there to come into focus. Here's a second shot with another adjustment in camera, and it's exactly the same situation. It's improved a little bit, but the rear battery there is still badly out of focus. So hopefully that's been able to help you. If your lens is front focusing or back focusing, then there are a couple of things that you can do. You could send it back to the manufacturer to be calibrated, or if you've just bought it new, you could return it to where you bought it and exchange it for another copy of the lens. Sometimes you get a bad copy of a lens, like the Canon lens I showed you previously in the pictures there. Also on Canon cameras, Nikon too, the higher end models, I think from the Canon from the 7D upwards, so 7D, 6D, 5D, 1D, you can actually adjust the focus in camera for a particular lens. Like I showed you on the previous photos there of the test that I've done with the Canon 70 to 200 2.8, you can calibrate the camera to focus slightly forward or slightly backward. You get around about 20 millimeters of play, so 2 centimeters basically forward or backwards of the focus point. And in my case with the 70 to 200, that still wasn't good enough. The lens was needed some serious help. So if you can do that in camera, then give it a shot, okay? And hopefully that will solve your problem. If you're certain that it is the lens and you're unable to calibrate it in camera, then like I said, return it back to the manufacturer. They'll calibrate it, sometimes free if it's under guarantee still, or if you've only just purchased the lens new, then take it back to the shop where you got it from and they'll exchange it, no problem. Amazon will also do that too. So yeah, hopefully that's been of help to you, and if it has helped you, then please hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, and there'll be some more videos along soon. Thanks for watching. See ya.